Every day, there's a battle for your mind raging. Information coming from every angle with the will to deceive. Fear not. You found the place for truth. The voice of a generation that still has the will to believe in the greatest country in the history of the world. This is the Charlie Kirk Show. Buckle up. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Charlie Kirk Show. I'm Andrew Kolvet, executive producer of this fine show. I'm joined, as always, by the one and only Blake Neff, our secret weapon, our not-so-secret weapon. He loves that. He loves that nickname. And, of course, Brandon Tatum, the Officer Brandon Tatum. Thank you for joining us, my friend.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
You are a Phoenix local. You have been with us in and around Turning Point USA for many years, speaking at our events, tabling with us. And, I mean, you're doing amazing work, my friend, and we're just honored to have you in studio next to the chair, next to Charlie's chair.
Yeah, it's surreal, man. It's surreal being here, looking at the chair and seeing all Charlie's stuff and everything he's done and built. I got mixed emotions, man. You know, I feel angry. It makes me angry now that I'm here physically, you know. But also I'm still optimistic that, you know, God has his purpose and plan. And Charlie was a big part of that.
Yeah, man. Well, you've, like I said, one of the themes that we've been talking about in a lot of our shows is the fact that there's a lot of left-wing violence, the rise of left-wing violence. Yeah. And, you know, you have seen it firsthand doing some of the work with us at TPUSA. And I mean, I think it was just in April, as a matter of fact. It wasn't that long ago. So if I'm told there may be swear words in this clip, so let's play it as B-roll. But this was you tabling at UC Davis, doing kind of your own prove me wrong in April when a bunch of Antifa thugs came up and basically robbed the whole table, took the tent.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us what happened here.
They were nutty, man. It was outrageous. The interesting part is that when I showed up to campus, they had already come to the table and destroyed it the first time. I wasn't aware of that. As soon as I got out the car, they were like, we're being attacked by the Antifa, and the phone hung up. And then by the time I got, you know, from the car to the campus, they had already set up everything, and it looked like everything was back to normal. The video team did a really good job at doing that. And so I didn't realize what had happened. I see Antifa, you know, retreating, and they're playing all this music, and they're all dressed in black, and the police are just standing around doing nothing. So I assumed that nothing serious had happened. And then they come back. And the video team was telling me, man, we want to leave. Like, these people are violent. They punched a couple of us. And I remember addressing the police officers head on. I said, look, man, you know, as a former cop, like, you guys have an obligation to protect us. What are you going to do if they come back? You know, am I going to have to swing on these people, or are you going to do something? And they literally told me to my face that we're not going to do anything. We're just going to cancel the event. And I said, that's not right. If they come back, we got to be able to defend ourselves.
Yeah, you guys weren't doing anything wrong. You're sitting there having a conversation and engaging in dialogue, and they were just like, instead of punishing the bad guys here, the people that are trying to interrupt the event and disrupt everything, steal everything, we're just going to tell you you can't do this anymore.
Andrew, we didn't even start yet. I wasn't even on campus yet. They were just setting up the cameras. And they came and attacked everybody. And then we hadn't even had a chance to say anything. And the funny, ironic part of it is that their violence have no filter. They claim they support blacks and black and brown bodies and all this stuff, but a black man comes on campus that don't say what they want to say. They're willing to attack us, and nobody's going to say anything about it. And it was very troubling to see what they did. You know, I had to, you know, defend a couple people and push a little non-binaries out the way a little bit. A part of it, personally, I wanted to just go one by one and knock them all out, which I probably could have, because they were all soft and weak and cowards. But, you know, I wanted to do it in the spirit of Charlie. Charlie wouldn't want to knock these people out. Well, maybe he wanted to, but he wouldn't. He would have been peaceful and saying, you know, don't touch them, let them go. But, you know, I had a little more in me on that day. But, you know, I kept it
took one
good.
of their bikes and
well, I threw one of them went flying a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, but they, you know, I had to give them some wings there for a little minute. But
it's really worth pausing there on the fact that, you know, we've had this debate going back and forth the last few weeks where you've had, you know, the ADL, Cato coming out and being like, actually, most violence is right wing. But something like that, where a bunch of violent goons like disrupted, forced essentially the cancellation of an event, attacked a bunch of people. that's never going to go into their stats, even though that sort of thing happens all the time and is absolutely a form of political violence.
Did any of them get arrested?
No.
Of course not.
No, and they struck a woman right in front of the police. I was standing next to him. I said, "You see what they just hit that woman?" And it was you see the person that walked from behind, hit her in the head, so they can identify that person. They didn't even pursue them, right? They went back to a central location to stage when they got on the scene, and they left the same way, right in front of the police station, and nobody got arrested.
Well, I mean, there's two things that come to mind with this. Let's first play Katie Daviscourt. She's a reporter for the Post Millennial. She's been to Turning Point events, and she's a great person. She's super courageous. So she's out in Portland documenting the riots and the vandalism and the thuggery that's going on outside the ICE facility in Portland, and she got punched. Play cut 108.
The Trump administration is absolutely correct in deploying federal troops here because Portland police has completely abandoned this zone. They refuse to go in, and everyone that shows up is on their own.
So it's kind of like Chaz or CHOP was in Seattle. They just, I guess, secede this territory, cede it to Antifa, and they just let everything play out?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Yeah, so it's kind of going to what you're talking about. You go into these blue areas. So you're at UC Davis, which is a known hotbed for Antifa. It's a known hotbed for just far left political craziness. She's up in Portland/Seattle, and she's describing the same thing, where these cops are not getting, and this is the whole argument, by the way, for why we need the National Guard, because the cops and the local mayors and the governors are not backing these police officers to do their job. So they stand back, they get tepid, and they just let these thugs run roughshod over law-abiding people.
Right. It's insane to me because, to be quite honest, and obviously people know that I was a cop, it's easy for police officers to get these things under control. You have to start early. When they start gathering, you have to start integrating yourself in the crowd, making sure they disperse, not letting them build up and create riots. It's very easy to do it. We did it at the University of Arizona after the basketball tournaments, whether win or lose, they riot and flip over cars and burn stuff.
You were in Tucson.
Yeah, we were in Tucson. So we integrate in the crowd. We do it early. We get there early. We kind of, I would say we make friends with people.
Well, you also assert authority.
We did it in a different way, right? We came out early. We integrated into the crowd. Therefore, they could not build units of violence. And we did that so that we didn't have to get the riot gear out. And if it came to it, we'll get the riot gear out, and we were going full bore. And they could do that, but they're refusing to do it. They have the manpower to do it, but they're refusing to use that tactic. They don't care. They want them to have free reign to shut us down. And going back to your point, they can say all they want about the right-wing violence and all of this other stuff. They will never show a video. There isn't a video that exists of a left-leaning person going to campus, doing a speech or tabling or anything like that, and conservatives or people on the right bludgeoning them. No. The video don't exist. The video don't exist of left-wing nut jobs going in the street and pushing abortion, and conservatives are just beating them up and doing all this stuff. No. The videos don't exist.
By the way, we've said it before, but it bears repeating again and again and again. Our friend Charlie Kirk gets assassinated. We didn't burn down cities. We didn't loot businesses. There wasn't mass rioting and mass violence taken to the streets. What was there? It was vigils and memorials and prayer. We are not the same.
Right.
Because ultimately the issue, these politicians are endemic of a larger issue because they're coddling these domestic terrorists, these violent extremists, the actual violent extremists. But it is a core. It's a core. It's a feature. It's not a bug of leftism that you result to violence because you believe that it's justified. You're not anchored in some deeper Christian truth about that. God is vengeance belongs to the Lord, or that government should wield the sword. No, that's not what that's about. They think that they need to take it into their own hands, and we're seeing that again and again. And so you've seen it firsthand, and so I want to talk to you about that. I'm going to tell you guys about Good Ranchers, one of my favorite partners on the show. I don't know if I have the read here for Good Ranchers. I do have it. All right. Good Ranchers has always been a dear friend of this show. Corley and Ben Spell, amazing, amazing patriots that love Charlie and loved our show, love Turning Point. And thing this show has always been about is standing for the things that matter, and that's why we're passionate about our partnership with Good Ranchers. From the beginning, Good Ranchers has refused to play by the industry's rules. Last year alone, the U.S. imported over 4.5 billion pounds of beef, much of it labeled product of the USA, simply because it was packaged here. But Good Ranchers refuses to play any part in that. Instead, they chose American farmers and transparency. They choose quality over profits, even when it costs them more, because for them, doing what's right has never been up for debate. And by the way, you got to get the chicken nuggets, seed oil-free chicken nuggets. Put promo code Charlie to get $40 off plus free meat for life. Go to goodranchers.com, goodranchers.com.